Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to the Talk of the Terraces podcast. There's not been a lot of football news, has there, really, in the last few days and stuff?
I know, it's been really quiet, hasn't it? Been really quiet. We're struggling to find something to talk about, aren't we?
Well, exactly, yeah. It's like there's been no developments in football, there's been no anything to do with owners or people in revolt or anything like that now, so it's been really strange.
Yeah, there's just been nothing, has there? It's probably you probably call it the quietest week in football.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
There was a silly little thing about some Superman league or something like that.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah. Apparently, some clubs wanted to join a Super League or something, and
it's sort of like the Avengers,
yeah.
but football. We can talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll have a little chat about that. Yeah, we'll have to. We've got to fill the time with something, haven't we?
Well, yeah, exactly. It can't just be me making bird noises again.
No, the cat farting.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
is a sparrowhawk.
Yeah, exactly. Now we're approaching summer. Yeah, it's the season for getting the spring watch, isn't it? So yeah, we could we could do a build up to spring watch.
Are you a twitcher?
Not these days, no. I've put those days behind me. Yeah,
like admiring the great tits outside the window.
Yeah, well, that was one of last month's weird news, wasn't it? Pair of tits have a fight in Scottish Park or something.
Oh God, yeah. No more developments on that.
No.
Separated.
The tits have separated. They've calmed down, and they've gone away for the spring. So
that's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. These Scottish tits, eh?
Oh no. Where's kind of tits about? For any of our Scottish listeners, we're not having a go.
No.
Banter.
Yeah, well, I'm allowed because I'm 25% Scottish, so
yeah, you've got Scottish heritage.
Yeah, I'm allowed to mimic and make fun of the Scottish, the Welsh, and the English.
Talking about Scotland, I was watching. Have you ever watched Gordon, Gino's, and Fred's road trip?
I've watched little bits.
They went to Scotland in it, and they said like that Gordon Ramsay's part of like the Ramsay clan.
Right.
I was wondering if you had like a Goldie clan and a Tartan and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's all linked back to he was a good friend of William the Conqueror.
Aye, Willie the Conk, Billy the Conk.
Billy, yeah. So he was from Normandy, and he was given some land in Scotland.
Really?
Yeah, in 11 something.
Good God, that's interesting.
So yeah, I think part Norman.
Well, the Normans were descended from Vikings. So
that's right. Yeah,
so you're Viking.
Well, it makes sense now, doesn't it?
Hello, my name is James.
It now makes sense. I understand where I get all this violence and I now know where it comes from. And you know, what can you do? It's in my DNA.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think that'll stand in for court.
Cool. Did you know I am of Viking heritage? You know. Yeah. Sorry, sir. Oh, that's done. Well, it's that mad thing, isn't it? This is why I don't watch Who Do You Think You Are anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Just charging to court, going Skull.
You watch this Who Do You Think You Are, and people find out their great grandmother was Irish, and they go, I always knew I was Irish. You know, my favourite colour's green, and I like Guinness. And now I know why. Yeah, now I know why. And you're just like, oh, fuck off.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. You've 8 generations in Manchester or something like that. You know.
Yeah, exactly. You can completely ignore the Englishness side of the heritage.
Exactly. Yeah. So. Yeah. Well, aren't you of Evans' son of Evans?
It's a weird one, because if you go online, I think it's Welsh, so like son of Evans, you know, like other
Evans,
like,
Evans the lad.
But then they say adding son at the end is an English thing, so it's like you know, like Thompson.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. But there's another thing of it that says it's a Scandinavian, Evenson.
That
kind of thing. So I don't know. I really don't know about my name. I tell you what, I did find an interesting thing online.
Go for it.
That there was some, and it wasn't porn at the time. It was.
It wasn't two women in a cup or whatever.
No.
It wasn't. No, right. So.
No, it was a bucket. It was, the McGregor clan in Scotland, they were driven out and outlawed by the other clans, and they, in order to survive, any ones that are left, changed the name to Evanson.
Oh, right.
So I might be Scottish too.
Oh, there you go. So, I mean, I was just going to say that might make you a Rangers fan, but...
Yeah, exactly. Well, no. But, but thinking of that, like, we are a pretty annoying family, so I can imagine the Scottish fans driving us out.
Yeah, maybe. yeah. Kind of William Wallace chasing after you over the border, over the wall,
swinging his massive sword.
With his kilt up. Yeah,
back into porn.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing, isn't it? I think everyone's painted from all kind of nationalities and.
That's it. To be fair, if you, there's no true Brits because it's just an island of invasion and immigration and everything. There's no true. I think the only ones are gingers, basically, that are.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? Kind of joking aside, and this is quite a serious thing. I something come up on Twitter a couple of weeks ago. You know the MP David Lammy.
Yeah,
he's a Labour MP. Lammy, he was on LBC, and some caller rang up because he said he was proud to be English, he was proud to be British, and this. But this caller rang up and said, "You're not English. Why? Because you're not Anglo-Saxon."
Ooh, really? Anglo-Saxon? Yeah, but that's a contradiction.
Well, this is the thing. What she was saying? Well, I'm Anglo-Saxon, so that makes me English. Do you know where the Saxons come from?
Oh, the Saxon part of it, Germany, isn't it? So you're not English.
So you're not English. So
no.
Right, so let's just forget about this. He was born in England. He's English.
Yeah. Saxony.
Imagine the irony of saying you're not English, but I am because I'm Anglo-Saxon.
Yeah. Oh, it's just ridiculous. It is. Yeah.
Like you said, the only ones who could claim English are probably the gingers.
Yeah, exactly. And I've been tempted to do one of them DNA tests, but I don't know. I'm sure it's going to be a patchwork. Like, it might come out that I'm Native American. I don't know, but because my granddad always said that it was like we're descended from Native Americans, but I think he was having us on.
Was it late on Christmas Day after he'd had a few sherries?
Yeah.
Grandad always used to tell this story on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day.
After a few sherries.
Yeah. Now listen here, kids, we're Native American. All right.
I just don't get how that'd work. How a Native American would end up in crew. Would you do the DNA test? No. Just because I'm not interested. No, but it's not because I'm not interested. It's that thing of going, oh, right, okay. Do you know, exactly. I'm not going to do the who do you think you are moment when it goes, oh, I'm 33% North African. And also, how accurate is it? Because I think different DNA tests do different results, don't they?
Of course they do. And I think everyone's going to have a little bit of everything now in this, kind of global trade has been going on for hundreds of years. And
yeah, especially with Britain.
Well, exactly, yeah. So, yeah. God knows. But
anyway, football.
Yeah, that was definitely off topic.
Yeah.
It's because we haven't got much to talk about with football, I suppose.
No, exactly. Football's been proper boring this week.
Proper boring, yeah. I mean, yeah. Shall we talk about this minor news headline?
Yeah,
if we have to,
can do. Yeah. Who knows? Well,
I mean, the thing is, just before you go into it, if we were doing this podcast a couple of weeks later, we would quite literally have nothing to talk about with the way it's gone.
Well, potentially, yeah. So, if we'd have done this podcast 2 days ago,
yeah,
a completely different story.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it would have been, a completely different ending or future. Yeah.
Yeah. So, for anyone who has been on the International Space Station the last 2 days, on Monday. Sunday evening, wasn't it? Actually, mate. The 6 supposed big clubs in this country tried to shoehorn through a breakaway Super League group for these teams to join. Now the Super League consisted of Man United, Man City, Liverpool, extremely successful sides in their own right.
Yeah, and then
I say so myself.
Yeah.
And also there was the likes of Arsenal, won a couple of premierships. Chelsea, won a couple of premierships, and Tottenham.
Yeah. I mean, do we want to attack that point first?
Yeah, I think we should cross that line. Like, Tottenham, no disrespect to Tottenham, they're a great club and everything, but they have not been showered in silverware.
No.
They have not won any European Cups, I don't think, to my knowledge. Not recently, anyway.
No, I think they might have won a Cup Winners' Cup in the 70s or something.
Yeah, exactly. So, other teams that I've won in Europe, Notts Forest have won 2 European Championships.
Yeah.
Aston Villa won 1, I believe, or 2, I think.
1, yeah.
Very successful. So they're not basing it on that. And the only link I can find that Tottenham's in it is they also have American owners.
Yeah.
And I think there's some kind of coven going on with these American owners, and also City's owners, of course, and the Russians, to create this new Super League. And as usual, what's the answer to 99 out of 100 questions? It's money.
Yeah.
300 million signing on bonus, pretty much. For breaking away to this new league.
And that's the thing that's kind of sparked the interest of these billionaires, isn't it? Is this, like you say, is it 200-300 million euros, dollars, pounds, whatever it is, upfront loan payment, which is basically, I think, just to plug the hole due to COVID. Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, it's kind of, you've lost probably a lot of money during COVID, as most people have as well.
Yeah,
like some kind of really seismic numbers. If you're a football club, you lose. But they've come up with this idea of having a Super League. Now the main points that fans disagreed with was the fact that lower league clubs or any other club that's outside the Magic Six don't benefit at all.
Yeah,
from what I could see, there was no chance of them benefiting from it by getting into it.
No,
it was kind of a locked system.
Yeah,
they did then backtrack and say there would be like a promotion thing, but don't see how that would work.
Well, that was the thing, wasn't it? The details weren't very clear, but they said they might get it through Champions League qualification.
Yeah,
but hold on, if we've only got 4 Champions League places and there's 6 clubs that are getting a lot more money than the others, kind of closes the door to the top 6, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah, it automatically makes that Champions League competition. It makes the Champions League redundant, then, basically.
Yeah.
Because the champions won't be playing in it, most likely.
Yeah.
Unless Leicester win it again. But that's the thing. It caused pretty much instant outrage, and it just built and built and built.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were thinking of. Like, there's been some really good comment. Like, it's really brought into focus something that's been a problem for a while, which is that money is owning football.
Yes.
And the likes of Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher and people like that have come out and made some really impassioned speeches about it, about not just the Super League but the way that money controls the game as it is.
Yeah, and I think they've been largely right, haven't they? What they've said, and a lot of ex-pros and ex-managers have come out, and everyone's saying the same thing as the supporters. I suppose there was that guy, I don't know his name and I don't know what kind of podcast or what he's part of, but the video you sent me of the guy having a really good rant about it, saying,
That was brilliant, wasn't it?
Basically, why is this a shock to anyone? And also, he's basically said, like, this, no one was kicking off a fuss when the Premier League started.
And that's true.
Which, in a sense, was created to send more money to the clubs, in particular to the big clubs.
Yeah, the only thing is with the Premier League is it was a bit unnecessary because you already had a top flight division. That's fine. So naming a new division and calling it that and then knocking it over. But the thing is that it did have promotion and it tied well in with this new media of satellite coverage and the explosion of football in the early 90s and everything.
Yeah, and that's, like you say, it wasn't a closed shop, was it?
Yeah, exactly. But they, rightly so, as that guy says, they've made millions off it. Billions, if not.
Yeah.
They've had a monopoly on TV rights. They've took it away from people watching it for free.
Mm.
BT have. Like, Champions League was probably one of the last things to go.
Yeah.
FA Cup. Now, that's not free unless you catch the odd third round game on BBC now and again.
Yeah.
So, those without saying, really, that Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher, they're working for a conglomerate that has a monopoly on football completely.
Yeah, well, I suppose they've had double bubble. Yeah, they've had double bubble, haven't they? I mean, they've earned ridiculous amounts of money as players.
Yeah.
Kind of international class players, and then like you say, they've also got a job off the back of it now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's difficult, isn't it? Like you said, the Premier League was kind of created because the top clubs in particular thought that the FA weren't acting in their financial interests, in their commercial interests.
Yes.
So they wanted to kind of take ownership of that, and because they thought they could make more money doing it themselves, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
And
killed the FA, did it? It's still relevant. And
exactly, yeah. And I suppose the positive is, in the fair point is that the English clubs could see a lot of the world's best players were going over to Italy at the time, and Spain kind of before it. And that's because they were commercially more successful and could pay for the big players, and the big names. So
better money, better life, better pay.
Exactly. So that's why the English clubs went after it. Really, they wanted to attract the best players and improve the quality of English football, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't until like turn of the century that we actually caught up. Was it in terms of keeping the talent here and also lifting European, being big on the European stage again?
Exactly, yeah. There was that run of a few years, wasn't there, maybe 10, 15 years ago, where English clubs dominated European football. I think there was that time when there was 4 clubs in the semi-finals or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, this kind of links to the point then that the Big 12 or the 12 then, or the Big 6 English clubs, and the president above this has kind of said the reason for this breakaway league was to do with dissatisfaction towards UEFA and the Champions League.
Yeah.
And obviously UEFA have just announced a new format, which looks like it's going to kind of widen the scope in terms of how many teams are in the competition, and kind of making it a bit easier for those bigger clubs to get into the competition.
Yeah, it's going to be more like a league, isn't it? It's going to be more...
Yes.
Where you have to be in a certain place to go through, that kind of thing. It's like group stages, but thickened out. Isn't it? Yeah,
I think this president is saying that nobody wants to see on the European stage RB Leipzig playing Lyon. RB Leipzig playing I don't know, Villarreal. They want to see Real Madrid versus Liverpool. Man United versus Juventus, whatever it might be. So that's what they're saying, is that people are losing interest in European football because it's not until the later stages you get these big games. However, and this is a question directly to you, as we know, the Champions League or European Cup used to be for champions of the European leagues, and that has kind of expanded over time, in particular when it became the Champions League. And we've seen in English football it go from 1 team to 2 teams to 3 teams to 4 English teams can get in the Champions League. Whereas in the winner of the Scottish League still has to qualify. What's your feeling in terms of the devaluing of the Champions League in widening it to all these teams, especially in relation to the fact that Liverpool could qualify for the Champions League even though they might finish 5th or 6th?
Well, that's it. It is called the Champions League, so technically and historically it should have always been the champions of Europe playing against each other.
Yeah.
However, that said, we would not have won the last 2 Champions Leagues if we weren't in it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The thing is, if you just have the champions of Europe playing each other, that tournament would be over in a month.
Yeah.
Because there'd only be about 12 or so many teams in it.
Yeah.
So
I suppose in the old days it used to be just like 4 rounds and then you were in the final.
Exactly, mate. Yeah, so it was a much quicker path. It's a lot harder to win it now, especially if you are a champion as well and you're doing great. All it takes is one bad game and that's it. You're out.
Yeah.
So it is more difficult in that sense. But I've always been a big fan of the Champions League. Not just because I'm a Liverpool fan, but in general, if of a Tuesday or Wednesday night, I'll always have a game on or something, just watching it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I've said honestly to you, I only kind of get involved in the Champions League probably at the semi-final stage.
Yeah.
For the reason is, you do normally get the big, 4 really big teams, probably from this selection of 12 teams, for this European Super League, whatever it is.
And that's it. And I suppose to see that point, it's like, if Crew were in it, you would definitely watch every game, wouldn't you?
Well, this is it. You've got invested interest in it because you might be watching Liverpool, you might be watching someone in Liverpool's group, you might be watching a knockout game who Liverpool are going to play next, or could be playing next.
Things in the path, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
In terms of that, yeah, I would be watching it. But for some, like for you, for a neutral or. If crew aren't going to be in it anytime soon.
Yeah, maybe next year.
I suppose that it would the shine would be off it, wouldn't it? You'd be like, I just want to see the big teams play.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, there is part of me though. I understand that you've got to have Man United, Liverpool, kind of Juventus, Inter Milan, Real Madrid, Barcelona, etc., etc., etc. I understand you want those clubs in it because they're iconic big names in football. They've got the fan base globally, Got
the best players to watch and everything.
Exactly, I get that. But there is part of me who would like the champions of Wales to be in the Champions League.
TNS.
Exactly, yeah, TNS or Llandudno FC or whatever it might be, yeah. Or, the Irish champions, whatever it is, there is part of me who would like to see those clubs in there. I mean, I'm guessing that the champions of Wales do get a chance to qualify?
They must do. I'm not that knowledgeable about it, but they must have a shot. They are champions.
Yeah, I mean,
Ireland as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm supposing that their qualification probably starts like 3 weeks after the end of the season, because there's so many rounds to get through.
Yeah, exactly.
Before you might play, 3rd and 4th spot from the Premiership.
There must be like qualifiers to get into the qualifiers or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because you've got teams like. I don't know, like the Norwegians or the Luxembourg team.
Yeah.
It's the champions of Europe, so any European state must be able to get into it.
Yeah, and I mean, kind of like the in between. I know it's obviously very silly to say the champion of Wales. Why aren't they in it? But like whoever finishes top in Scotland's got to qualify.
Yeah.
And there's 2 massive clubs there. Yeah, there's no automatic, and you've got 2 massive clubs in Scotland.
Yeah.
You kind of feel that perhaps that should be an automatic place, and I don't know if it will be under these new UEFA rules. Actually, I'm not
Possibly.
Sure.
Yeah, because they are going to be including more teams in this now, aren't they? So
it might capture it. Yeah, I mean the thing to take from this is the Real Madrid president has basically come out, I think even today, and said that kids are getting bored with football. They're not interested in seeing these early rounds in the Champions League. They want to see the big teams. They want to see these giants of football play one another. Yeah. And he said it's basically because kids are losing interest. Now, I don't think that's because the early rounds or some of the early games in the Champions League are boring, or it's not the big teams. I don't think that's why kids are not watching football. It's probably because they're playing, on the PlayStation, to be fair.
Yeah.
Rather than...
Exactly.
It's nothing to do with, the early rounds of the Champions League.
It's probably just that it's just not that important to them.
No, and that's the thing.
Football's dropping off in general with people.
No, and on the flip side of that, I don't think a European Super League means all of a sudden loads of kids are going to start watching football who wouldn't have normally, or who would stop watching it. Do you know what I mean?
No, exactly.
I can't see it, and I don't think it's gonna. That would make a difference. What you need is players with jetpacks on. In a football that's kind of on fire, and things like that might get people watching.
Driving around in cars.
Exactly, yeah.
All about.
Yeah, or there's kind of, I don't know, something futuristic going on. Basically, that's and you know, also other sports are kind of global now. Sport as a whole is a lot more global, so there's a lot more other sports in competition for football.
Yeah,
you know, to kind of butt heads against.
Yeah, and that I suppose for kids as well, that path to glory, that path to being a top player is just narrowing and narrowing all the time with the amount of saturation of players that are out there and everything.
Yeah. I just don't get the argument. In terms of the owners, then, what do you think has gone on with the owners? Surely, they must have known this was going to absolutely flop. This was not going to be supported by the everyone, basically. There's 2 polls out have come out and said 89% of people are against this. Do you think they knew it was going to flop, or do you think they were badly advised, or they just got it completely wrong?
I think they possibly got it completely wrong. I think that because, well, I can only talk on Liverpool, but the fact that Klopp or any of the staff or any of the players weren't even told about this, they were told when everyone, the rest of the world was, shows that there's a disconnect there between the owners and the club. And because they're just not used to dealing with these kind of our kind of fan base. They're used to American fan bases where it is set in stone that these set teams are in the NFL and these set teams are in the World Series of baseball and everything. That nothing changes with that.
Yeah.
And how precious British people and other people in Europe as well are about football.
Yeah.
And there was some great sayings like "stolen, like made by the poor, stolen by the rich," that kind of thing, and it's right.
Yeah, well, this is another point. So obviously, a lot of these big clubs are aside of the COVID kind of financial year, if you want to look at the last year. Yeah. These clubs are profit making now. Apart from when they go, on big spending sprees, spending 100 million on a player, or whatever. Yeah. These clubs are profitable organisations now. So it is greed. They don't need more money, apart from maybe this year. How would you feel then about kind of these clubs being devalued and perhaps handed back to the fans and less money in football? In terms of the quality would drop. There'd be less money in football. Or do you think now we're at a happy medium? Or do you like how it is now, but you don't like the owners? Where do you think the happy medium is for fans?
Yeah. For me, talking as a Liverpool fan, I know there's been a lot of animosity towards FSG, our owners and everything, but I think this is probably the first major foot they've put wrong. I know they haven't put much more money forward for transfers and everything, but in 10 years, Liverpool's got a brand new stand. We've won the league, as we've always wanted to do, won the Premier League and won the Champions League, which isn't bad considering it's a 10-year turnaround since they took in, and the place we were in when they came in, £200 million in debt, and now we've got we're way in the red and we're investing and we're making money, and now we're one of the richest clubs in the world now.
Yeah.
So in terms of the FSG and the owners and stuff, like you said, if we were owned by the fans and stuff, I think sometimes it's too many chefs spoil the broth kind of situation where nothing will get done or decided, or no decisions will get made properly, and there'll be too much scrupulation rather than owners having the say in everything. But it's one of them. It's where football's moved to, hasn't it? And all the big clubs are owned by big private billionaires. Yeah.
I suppose that's the thing with Man United, isn't it? When they were taken over by the Glazers, it was their company that took over Man United and offloaded, however many hundreds of million of debt, onto Man United, which was probably, quite a profitable organisation itself at the time. And obviously a lot of fans were not very happy about that, and then we saw the birth of FC United. We would kind of get 5,000 people there every week. And things like that. But I suppose this goes back to the point then of how can they bridge the gap back to the fans? I suppose the thing is that without this European Super League, the billionaire owners are still there, and they're still there for one reason only. It's money and then success, I suppose.
Yes, exactly.
Do you think there could be a revolution in change in English football?
potentially. If they push it too far and you do more stuff like this, I think they will. I think there's a lot of if it ain't broken, don't fix it. So a lot of fans have been angered at why they're trying to change things. They like the way they're set up. Yes, we need more investment going further down the tree. Other clubs in the lower leagues definitely need more money and more help.
Yeah.
But for anything else, it's people like it. They like the format. They like watching Champions League games. So why change it?
This is it, isn't it? I think, especially this Real Madrid chairman or president, or whatever it is, and probably a lot of these other people, they completely misread the fans. The fans are happy with their leagues and their domestic football, as a whole, and they're happy with the European setup as well as a whole. Yeah. The Champions League in particular. I suppose it's one thing that's kind of brought home to me is, and I will contradict myself with the following with the next statement I make after this. But obviously, smaller clubs are owned by fans, or they're owned by, someone who's worth a few million, who's a fan of that club, and has bought their boyhood kind of club kind of thing.
Exactly.
So for people who support smaller clubs like myself, it's probably made me it's made me proud that I support a club which is Crewe is owned by the fans. They're a major shareholder in the club.
Yeah.
On the flip side, I will not lie, I would love it if a multi-billionaire come in and bought Crewe and got us into the Premiership or something like that.
That's it.
And that's the only way. And that's the only way that would happen. Yeah. It's never going to happen on merit. We're never going to all of a sudden have this green patch where we produce the best youngsters in football and find the best non-league footballers, and all of a sudden we're knocking on the door of the Premiership. So this kind of goes back to that thing, doesn't it? I think we're probably at that happy medium, aren't we, across the Football League?
Yeah, exactly. Like if a big owner come in for Crewe and took them to dizzy heights and everything, you'd be made up. And like you said, if you try to make is it like a cooperative or a something like that for one of the big clubs, the shareholders or investors or anyone who's involved in the club would not want to risk it. Would not want to risk it, and because there's comfort in numbers and there's comfort in billions, isn't there? So
yeah,
they won't want to risk it, and plus they'd have to find so many 100,000 buyers as well.
Yeah.
It'd be difficult.
Do you think there's a distinct difference of fans of these football clubs, the big six English football clubs, those that have grown up on the street next to these grounds or local to these grounds, and have been supporters of these clubs since they were, kids, and then a difference between those that are international fans? And what I mean by this is, do you think that the international fans are like, great, we want to see this competition, we want to see the big clubs play each other every week, and then obviously the local fans are saying, no way? Do you think there's a divide, or do you think they're both on thinking the same lines?
I think, from what I've read on Twitter for Liverpool anyway, I think most of the international fans are of the same mind as well. That it's not good, even though it'd probably mean them coming over to their country to play matches. The thing is that for away supporters of any of the 6 teams, it's hard enough as it is to get to these places, and expensive enough to watch your team away. But can you imagine it if it's every single week, pretty much in a Super League, where you have to fly off to Munich or somewhere like that? Yeah. Or to Spain. Yeah. In order to support your team, and how much that would cost, it would literally be a rich man's sport. Yeah. Because only a rich man would be able to afford to do it, and have the time to do it as well. Yeah. And that's what I think the main sticking point was. This was a sport that was invented for, well, it was taken on by the lower working class, people who used to work in factories, on docks, in coal mines, as a way to get out and clear the lungs, kind of thing, and have a bit of fresh air and have a bit of camaraderie with the work colleagues. Yeah, yeah. And now it's just turned into this where season tickets are thousands upon thousands of pounds that the average normal person can't afford. Yeah, that's the strange thing as well, is that we know that there was that survey done a couple of years ago where the majority of Premiership clubs would have still made a profit without any ticket sales. Yes. And that's on the fact that they are, like you say, charging thousands for a season ticket. Exactly. Now, without wanting to sound like the hardest Brexit supporter of all time,
because I'm not on that side at all. But I've noticed that atmospheres in English football have seemed to diminish over the last 10-15 years, and I can only put that down to football tourism, international football tourism, where, like you say, the people who grew up on the street next to the football ground now can't afford to go to watch these teams, and the tickets are being bought by football tourists. People coming for a weekend in Liverpool, Manchester, people who are worth lots of money. And this is the bit where I don't want to sound like the biggest Brexit supporter type of person, but do you think there needs to be some kind of move to get English people or local people back into these grounds?
I think so, and the only way you can do that would be to discount tickets and create lower prices. Like, I think they especially in Liverpool or somewhere like that, if you have if you can prove you have an L1 postcode or an L4 postcode or something like that, that you should get a discounted ticket because you're local, you're the people, it's your club, that kind of thing. Tourists can pay those top whack prices for tickets. Like, say you went to watch a game in Spain, didn't you?
Yes, yeah. It was about €5, something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I've got the best of both worlds there. Tourists can pay low prices, and so can local people. But with football tourism and the prices hiking, you're pricing your local people out, and like you said, mate, it's affecting the atmosphere. I
think it is. I've definitely noticed it, especially at kind of Old Trafford in Anfield. Those domestic league games. I don't know if it's been something to do with how television is presenting it, but it just doesn't seem to be quite the same. And I think also that is a lot of that's to do with like new grounds as well. They seem to lose that atmosphere compared to the old grounds where the fans are basically right next to the pitch.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of comfort in like that new stand at Liverpool, very posh, very comforting, very touristy. But what probably Liverpool would counter argue, and other clubs will, there'd be a section or a stand where the ultras are. Fans like Liverpool, it's the Carp. With United, it's the Stretford end. With Crew, it's the Christie Road end.
It's the what is it? The ice cream van stand. Sponsored by Whitby Ice Cream Vans. It's the Gresty Road end, yeah. Yeah.
Brilliant.
I suppose. And what do you think is going to happen next? I mean, this Real Madrid guy is saying, "Hey, hold on, mate! All these guys have signed on the dotted line. It's legally binding. It's happening." Even though there's only 3 clubs left as we speak. What do you think is going to happen short term? And if it does disappear, do you think it's going to be coming back anytime soon?
I think it depends on if the changes at the UEFA for the Champions League get put into place and more money gets offered out. I think that'll be the death nail of it. You're right. The Real Madrid chairman's come out and said it's not dead. I don't know if he's going to extend it out to other teams or something to see if we can tempt them. I don't know how it can carry on with just 3 teams.
It might give Crew an invite. I mean, if Spurs are getting an invite, then I think Crew should have one.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we've won more than Spurs in the last 20 years.
I think you have, actually, with playoff finals and everything.
2 playoff finals and a Johnson's Paint trophy.
Oh, yeah.
What Spurs won? One
Cup, didn't you?
Yeah, one League Cup, Spurs, in the last 30 years, 20 years.
You definitely have the right then, mate.
Yeah, so I think we'll be in it.
Yeah,
I said bring it on, yeah.
I think they're just tipping the toe in the water, dipping the toe in the water, and it's been too hot, so they've just pulled it out. It'll probably come back again under a new version or a new thing, like a Diet Coke version of it. Yeah,
well, I know we're quickly running out of time, but this is something that happened a few months ago, wasn't it? It was Project Big Picture.
Yeah.
If that had been given the green light, do you think this would have happened?
Possibly not, no.
No. So
this is a knee-jerk reaction to that.
Yeah, because that was the thing. As soon as Project Big Picture was kind of squashed, then a couple of days later they started saying, "Oh, we'll start a European League then."
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what this turned into, hasn't it? Eventually.
Yeah, they're just putting heat on the football authorities, aren't they?
For more money.
Out and squeeze them.
Exactly.
Like they're not making enough as it is.
Yeah.
Right,
so
should we go to a break then, mate?
I think we should go to a break. Yeah, that's 40 minutes we've been chatting away. So let's have a break.
Sweet.
Coming soon to Channel 5. The tribute bands of Great Britain. In the first episode, we follow one of the Midlands' biggest tribute bands. Well, my name's Brian Copperpot. I grew up just outside West Bromwich, and I play Jimmy in Fred Zeppelin, Jimmy Page. What's my most memorable moment? It's probably with this gig we played in Tunstall in Stoke. It wasn't our best gig ever. That was in Norwich, I think. But yeah, we played this gig in Tunstall, and after the gig, the sound guy come up to me, and we used to call him the BHG, not the BFG, the BHG. Yeah, he stood for Big Headed Gary. Yeah, he had a massive head. Yeah, sniper's dream. Anyway, he come up to me after the gig and he said, Brian, you are the best guitarist I have ever seen. Not ever, not in the world, just in Tunstall. But yeah, he said I was the best guitarist he'd ever seen.
Hello, I'm Stuart. Looney Stew. But he told you about me, haven't he? Have he told you about me? Oh no, they haven't told you about me. Oh right, okay. Well, I'm Stuart. I'm the crazy one of the gang. Anyone to Jack Daniels? No, I can't have Jack Daniels anymore. We haven't need tablets anyway. What does it mean for me to be in a tribute band? I'd have to say freedom. It's just 2 hours to unplug from the mains, man, and pump the crowd full of lead.
Stu. Looney Stew, as he likes to call himself. Yeah, he's a good lad, Stu. Yeah, me and Stu go way back. We met at school, and we become friends through a mutual love of rock music, and we've been friends ever since. But Stu's had a tough life. He's had a really tough life. So much bad luck. He's the unluckiest man in Birmingham. I mean, so much bad luck. I mean, I tell you how bad it is. He's the only man I know who has sneezed so hard he shit himself. Think of that.
Hello, welcome back to Talk of the Terraces podcast. We're going to be talking about the stats and going into in-depth detail of how many metres Mo Salah ran in the last match.
Yeah. As we've always pointed out, we wanted to stay clear of that, didn't we? Exactly. The old stat
attack.
Yeah. Oh God, I hate it. It's boring, isn't it?
As we know, football, sport in general, and gambling sometimes go side by side because there's money to be made. There's not only money made by the owners in football, there's also money made by the gambling companies as well. So I think this is something you've been looking at recently, isn't it? Yeah.
It's something that kind of piqued my interest a couple of weeks ago, and I kind of saw something online, and it was regarding kind of sponsorship on shirts. And how a lot of these clubs are sponsored by betting companies. Yet on the children's T-shirt, they either remove the sponsorship or they've got a different sponsor on there.
Right. Okay.
So So there's a number of clubs that do it. So it got me kind of thinking, well, why are they doing that? So obviously the obvious answer is they're not putting it on kids' shirts because it's bad. Why would they choose to put something on an adult shirt but not a kid's shirt? Obviously because it must have some negative connotations to it. And then it got me thinking, well, hold on a minute, if we're acknowledging that this is something that's bad to be putting on the kids' shirts, why are we putting it on the shirts full stop?
Yeah.
If we're going, this is bad, we can't have this on the children's shirts, then why are we doing it at all? Because the thing is that is not going to make a difference. If we're saying that that's bad and it can't be on the kids' shirts, well, they sit and watch the football and watch the footballers with that sponsorship on.
Yeah, I think they'll be watching the match and then Ray Winston will come on like betting play.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
So there's zero censorship with not having it on the kids' shirts. And as I said, I've been kind of doing a bit of research, and I've watched a really good Russell Brand video, which I'll share with the with our listeners, our followers, where he's in the last month or so has been talking about this. Mm-hmm. The thing is, these kids then go home and play FIFA, which have the sponsors on the shirts. So
exactly.
It makes no difference at all that kids don't have the betting company on the shirt. So that's just kind of piqued my interest. And the first thing is, we're obviously saying this is bad. Why is it bad? I've just been kind of looking around, kind of the gambling stats, and I don't think there's anything in particular. And just to kind of add to this, we will be having a guest speaker on next week. Next month, and we'll release more details about that nearer to the time. Who's going to talk to us in a bit more detail about the negative connotations and how it's affecting people gambling. I've just been looking into kind of some of the numbers and what it is. It's a pandemic in itself, which has increased due to COVID. I suppose, before I kind of look at these numbers, what's your take on kind of betting and gambling in football in particular?
I think it's something that's always been about. There's always been kind of betting. I suppose since Roman times, there's been betting on things, hasn't there? Since chariot racing, pretty much. So whenever there's a sport or competition, there's always going to be betting. You're not going to get rid of that.
Yeah.
The thing I don't agree with really is in the last 10 years, there's definitely seen a massive shift on because we watch a lot of football. Advertising for betting and showing odds and everything like that. So
yeah.
The way I equate it to is that I've watched documentaries before and I've seen like news stories where people have lost a lot of money through betting because they are addicted. So it's an addiction. It's something that's unhealthy, and you lose a lot of money from doing it. So if say I'm addicted to gambling and I'm watching the match or something like that, and then flashed up that if Mo Salah scores first, you'll get £20 and stuff.
Yeah,
that's probably the same as an alcoholic seeing an advert with a nice ice cold beer on it saying "Drink this now for only £1" and stuff down at your local. It does, like alcohol and like other things like drugs and everything like that, it does wreck lives, and it needs to be taken seriously. Of course, with everything in life, everything must be in moderation, and I'm not saying we should ban gambling at all. I just say we need to dial it back a bit. Yeah,
and this is the thing, isn't it? This is looking at addiction. It's not looking at gambling as a whole. Now, I think you're the same as me. Luckily, I'm not addicted to gambling, and I put £10 on at the Grand National, and I might make 2 or 3 football bets in a year. Now the slogan that pops up when the fun stops, stop. That attracts to me because I'm not an addict. If I lose £10, that's it. I am not putting on any more bets.
Yeah, I'll be annoyed.
I'll be like, that's £10 that I could have spent on something else, and that's it. I will not bet for another few months.
Empty beer fridge and things.
I could have. Exactly. Yeah. But that's another addiction. Yeah. but that when the fun stops, stop is aimed at people who are not addicted. And people who have got this as an addiction aren't looking at that message and going, "Oh right, I'll put my phone down now."
Yeah, it's already gone beyond fun for them.
Exactly, yeah. And these things with the apps, online gambling and now apps have just made this thing. People are just doing it on the bus on the way to work. They're doing it while they're in, it's sat in bed. They're putting gambling. It's just so easy to do. And these apps kind of sell themselves, as kind of caring kind of organisations, and they say, on your app you can set deposit limits, you can set time management, you can take a break, you can turn these things off if you're an addict.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? It's not as if it's like the app will stop you gambling. You just turn it off and you carry on.
It's all dependent on the person, isn't it?
Of course.
Set your spending limits.
Yeah.
Remove your spending limits.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. If you're an addict, you'll set your spending limit at £50. You've used your £50 up, well, I'll turn it off. I'll put it up to 100 quid.
Oh no, I've lost 50 quid. I need to make that 50 quid back. I'll just turn that setting off.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the problem. I need to make that money back. I've lost
it. It is. And this is the thing, isn't it? Is someone who might put 3 or 4 bets on a year probably don't total any more than 50 quid.
Yeah.
You know, I just do it for a bit of fun. And, you know, I always remember that saying, you never see a poor bookmaker.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Do you? You know, there's that many bookies around because they're making money out of people with addiction. And this is one of the stats that has come out. The House of Lords Gambling Committee has found that 60% of the profits for gambling companies come from just 5% of gamblers. Mm-hmm. That's the addicts.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's 60% of their profits come from just 5% of the of gamblers.
Yeah, it's crazy. I watched a documentary about it, and there's like this one that was addicted to horse racing, and because he was spending so much, and he hadn't spent in a week, they rang him up and said, "We'll put $1,000 in your bank,
Yeah.
in your account."
Yeah.
Because he hadn't spent in a week.
Yeah.
And he's usually spending like 10 grand a month or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And he hadn't spent, so that's nothing to him. They just put $1,000 in his account.
Yeah.
To get him to do it again in case he's had it. That's immoral.
Yeah, it is immoral, and there's so much immoral. As I say, I'll share this Russell Brand video. You know, he kind of takes a humorous look at it, but it's some of the numbers are hard hitting. You know, several years ago, UK bookmakers agreed to give 0.1% of their 14 billion revenues to charities and organisations to help addicts. 0.1%.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's they're not feeding money into the other side, and as he points out, and Russell Brand goes into it in a bit more detail, there are people funding politicians, Trump, Biden, UK MPs, who are owners of gambling companies, who are on the board of gambling companies.
Yep.
The people
vested interest in people
in
their lives.
The people who are in power are making money or benefiting from people in the gambling industry.
Yeah.
It's just madness. And to kind of go back to football, you know, some of these stats here: 85% of Premier League and 75% of Championship clubs list a gambling sponsor or partner. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just madness. And you look at the Premier League; it's got an audience of 4.7 billion.
Yeah.
You know, and you kind of think, well, what does that matter? The 4.7 billion, they're not going to be interested in some Bet365. Well, what you actually find is that there's clubs out there that are sponsored by international or what are called kind of white label brands who are national corporations. You know, Crystal Palace, Leeds United, Newcastle, Southampton, Wolves. They've got global sponsorship on their shirts, global gambling sponsorship on their shirts.
Yeah.
And then you look at some of the really, really disturbing stats. You know, it's believed that someone commits suicide every day because of gambling.
Exactly.
Because of their gambling addiction.
It's a killer.
It is a killer, and they're suggesting that 50,000 children are addicted to gambling already.
There's no way. You can easily set up an account on a gambling website as long as you have a card.
Exactly. This is the thing, isn't it? There is more and more people getting into this, more and more people with addictions. It is, like we said, we're not the experts, but I don't think we're suggesting you get rid of gambling or these. It's the sponsorship. It's the fact that it's completely and just thrown in your face all the time.
Exactly. Yeah. It's basically brainwashing. It's like flash it in your face. Bet, gamble, win. Oh, increase your odds. Withdraw your money before it's too late and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sell now, all that kind of stuff. It's just aimed at you. You are gamble, and they make it because it's predominantly men who watch football as well. I know a lot of the ladies who like to enjoy the football too. I like to enjoy a gamble, but it's aimed at masculinity and men and being a community of lads and all that.
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
And on that Russell Brand video, he shares some of the adverts, and you've got the Ray Winston one, gamble now, bet and play, and then you've got the Chris Akabusi one, who's in a supermarket going lads.
Yeah.
It is aimed at that kind of culture, isn't it?
Yeah, the masculinity. It's part of your culture, basically. If you watch this game, if you enjoy it, if you have got a pint in your hand at the moment, you need to bet, or else you don't belong.
Exactly. This is
that kind of thing.
Yeah, a proper man gambles, almost. Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's something that we've just kind of touched on the last couple of weeks, and as I said, it's something that just smacks me in the face as why has nothing been done about this? Why are we letting this happen? Or why are we trying to pretend that the things that we're doing are going to make a difference? We won't put the sponsorship on kids' shirts. It will make no difference. 0.1% of sale, 14 billion. It's not going to make a difference.
No, it's already there. It's already you're already aware of it or anything like that.
Yeah, and I suppose it's going back. Look at F1 in the mid-90s. They banned tobacco sponsorship on the cars. All the big cars were sponsored by tobacco companies.
Look at football shirts like Liverpool used to have. I used to run around as a 10-year-old with Carlsberg written across.
This is it. Yeah.
Just like a free billboard for beer.
Yeah.
It's 10.
Yeah, but it would have made no difference. You weren't thinking, you were no different because you had Carlsberg or because you had Crown Paints.
No, I wasn't running around in the back garden going, I could just do for a pint, but I don't know.
Exactly.
Running around in the back garden going, Fowler!
Yeah, exactly. And this is the madness that they think taking it off kids' shirts is going to stop kids becoming gambling addicts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just PC nonsense. It's just them looking at the wrong side of it rather than looking at the greater issue.
Yeah, I mean the simple thing is to stop the sponsorship, stop the barrage of advertisements in football and on telly as a whole, and chuck some more money out the other side to help people who've got this addiction. As I said, we got someone from the Big Step, which are an organisation which are kind of one of the leaders in trying to get change with gambling, in particular with football. Yeah. And we've got a guy called Tom who will be joining us at the next podcast.
Whoa, we can't have two Toms.
Oh, that's a good point, actually. I think his name's Tom Fletcher. So okay. we'll have Tom F and Tom E. Tom F. Tom F. And
should we call him Fletch?
Fletch, we'll call him Fletch. So Fletch is joining us.
Corner.
Fletch's corner, yeah. That's an internal reference.
Yeah.
Fletch will be joining us next month. All right, Fletch.
Yeah,
Right, mate. We will be asking you to bring a weird news story with you.
Yes, please do. Yeah.
Please bring your weird news.
And if you know puns, then that's even better.
Yeah. And did you know what? You could probably have a permanent slot on the show if you're better at puns than us, which is probably likely. Yeah, you can have a permanent spot on the show.
Sounds perfect.
Yeah, but that's just a brief introduction to it, and Tom will be able to talk to us in a bit more detail and help our listeners understand this issue a bit more.
That's it. That's a very good issue to raise in sport.
I think so, yeah.
Football.
Absolutely, yeah.
Shall we have a break?
Let's have another break.
Let's have a break, mate.
Coming soon to Channel 5, the tribute bands of Great Britain. In the first episode, we follow one of the Midlands' biggest tribute bands.
Our best gig. We had a gig in Stafford once. And we wheeled out a new 200-watt stadium at Ready Amp to give the crowd a right treat. Right, picture this. The place was packed to the rafters. I plug in the amp, and boom, the whole place goes into darkness. No, never once to miss a joke. I shouted out, has anyone got a quid for the meter? Well, the 20 people in the audience were crying with laughter. Well, 19 were, yeah. Well, we weren't to know, but one of them was one of them Chilean miners. He started having a panic attack, bless him. So as soon as he got the power back on the music sorted him out and he was fine.
My old ma used to say to me, Brian, shoot for the moon. Shoot for the moon, son. And if you miss the moon, you'll land among the stars. Yeah, it's lovely that, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, the only problem is I missed the moon and I missed the stars. Yeah, I just landed in the cold vacuum of space where no one could hear me scream.
My job, apart from being an entertainer for the masses. Yeah, I'm a fishmonger at Morrison's.
Yeah, I've been married 4 times. Yeah, and divorced 4 times as well. Yeah. People say to me, Brian, you must love wedding cake. I don't actually. No, it gives me the rotten shits. Yeah. But, I suppose I'm a bit of a ladies' man.
Yeah, music's in my blood, My mum was in a tribute band back in the 70s. Yeah, she was in one called Mrs. Bowie, where she played David, which was quite groundbreaking for the time. But it didn't last long. She was quite a big woman. She could have a lot of abuse, People could be very cruel, shouting at her like Piggy Stardust, Fat White Duke, that kind of thing. Just really nasty stuff.
Hello, welcome back to episode 8 of the Talk of the Terraces podcast.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you.
How are you, pop pickers?
And number 8 is...
in a number 8? Oh...
Yeah, free places number 10.
Yeah. With girls.
Yeah, we're also 80s pop DJs in the sitting in spare time.
Yeah, we are available for retro discos.
We've got the hair and the glasses.
We have got the Pat Sharp, yeah, and the crazy glasses and jackets. Shabba.
Oh, hey, should we have some weird news?
Oh, I want some weird news in my life.
Right, I only had one last time. Today I'm spoiling you with 2.
Yeah, it's not about some European Super League, is it? That kind of was created and disappeared within 3 days.
No, that's just that. No one would believe that.
That's beyond weird. Yeah.
So I've got 2 news stories for you.
Hit me.
And for our French listeners, okay. So of the 2, I think I probably better do the football-related one first, don't I?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay, so my first weird news. Sorry, it's not a story. It's not been made up. Come on. First weird news is from Ireland, my ancestral home. I think I'm probably best going with the headline. It's a bit of a long one, but so I'll just go for it.
Go.
St. John's ambulance man frees photographer that has been tied to a football match fence post by his laces.
Only in Ireland.
Only in Ireland. I better elaborate on this.
Go.
A football cameraman from Ireland has gone viral after a video of him being freed after someone tied his shoelaces to a fence post.
What did you say? Was a cameraman?
Yeah, so he was a photographer who's lying down at the side of the pitch taking pictures of the match. I imagine with his feet to the back of the fence. Some genius, some absolute legend has come along. He's either... Now, I don't know if his shoelaces are untied or what, but they've tied his shoelaces around the fence that his feet were leaning against, so he got stuck. While the game was going on, and Bill Gullier getting the snaps from the action, someone at the ground managed to tie his shoelaces to the sidelines. Bill tried to get himself free, but required some help and some snacks from another member of the staff and a lad from the St. John's ambulance.
Wow. I tell you what, with that happening, he must have lost focus.
Oh, God. He's got the puns already. Oh, 11-year-old, where to go? Yeah, there's not much to be said about that one. He was stuck there for about 30 minutes.
Oh, God, yeah. Perhaps
trying to wriggle free.
Yeah, perhaps he was just waiting there to see what developed.
Yeah, if you want to look at the pictures that are hilarious and I didn't even miss it. What the hell?
That just went in and your brain just went, hold on a minute. What did he just say?
Yeah.
Oh! Yeah. There we are. Hat trick of puns.
Yeah, we're in orbit now. If you want to see the pictures for that, it's on Sports Bible.
Oh, I've got to look for that.
Sportsbible.com.
Wow.
/football/funny Irish football cameraman tied up to a fence in a hilarious video.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's one of the best, that, mate.
Cool. that's the first one done.
Okay.
Second one, we're going around a little bit further around the globe now, and we're going to Poland.
Poland.
Okay.
Warsaw?
No, Krakow.
Krakow. Okay.
Yes, exactly. I think, yeah, so I think I just better explain the story in this one. The headline don't really will probably give it too much away. A woman in Poland, in Krakow in Poland, believe she spotted a mystery animal in a fence, not in a fence, in a tree, in her garden. So she saw this weird shape, and it looked like a cone, and she thought it must have been some kind of like weird beehive or something. So she's got the local press, and also she thought it might be an iguana. She thought it might be something really strange. And when you look at the picture, it does look like something out of this world. It looks like something out of Aliens when the babies are growing and everything in Aliens.
I'm just waiting to hear what this actually is.
Yeah, so she got the environmental people out, animal protection, and also the press. And under further inspection, it turned out to be a croissant. When Animal Rescue showed up at the scene, they were able to nab the suspect bread-handed.
They're doing it for us.
She saw it looked like a bizarre animal hanging from the lilac tree outside her home for a few days.
Oh.
When officers showed up at the scene, they were able to nab the mystery animal bread-handed. Because the animal in question turned out to be a croissant. Thanks for the Krakow Animal Welfare Society for identifying that.
Oh, wow. Of all the things I was thinking that you were going to say it was, I wouldn't have said a croissant.
What do you think?
I was thinking it's going to be a paper bag or something, or a carrier bag, or I don't know, like a rotten tree stump, not a croissant.
Yeah, it does look a bit alienish, like I said. So,
oh God.
Yeah, I think this article from the Huffington Post, what I've read out, I stole all the puns. So I don't know if we got any more on that one.
I'm struggling with that one.
Yeah, something about pastry and myself. No, it's not words. No, it's too bread-handed and everything like that.
Yeah, they're the good ones, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to see it, it's on the Huffington Post. .co.uk, and search for mystery animal croissant Krakow. Which is a sentence I thought I'd never have to type.
Exactly. That is some weird news.
Yeah. I think the Polish have just taken over from the Russians in the weird news.
Wow, that is brilliant. That is fantastic. And I think, mate, just thinking out loud, they may be the two best weird news stories we've had.
Do you think so? Yeah.
I think they're up. Yeah.
Sweet.
So
not only have I've won the award for the guessing the right football scores.
Yeah.
Because I was the only one that played it. I've also won the award for best.
for best puns, yeah. Yeah. Oh God.
So that's my weird news stories for the month. Right?
That's brilliant. That's amazing. And please, if anyone could come up with any more puns for that.
Yeah, beat that Fletch.
Beat that Fletch, yeah. Yeah, Fletch, over to you. Over to you, mate. So this part, I don't know how I'm going to top that now, but we normally do classic album, which we are still doing, we will always do. It's in our nature.
It's classic album, not classical as well.
Classic, not classical, yeah. It's not.
Art and stuff.
Yeah. Just before we do that, and we'll try and do this quite quickly, we want to introduce perhaps a couple of games towards the end of the show that we can kind of do between the two of us. And if anyone who knows kind of John Robbins, Ellis James, they kind of have games, and I'm basically just going to steal their games and do them on our podcast. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. There's stuff.
Serious form of flattery.
Yeah. We're nicking your ideas basically. And one of my favourites, and me and the wife always play this game on holiday, and it's not that one. It is.
It's not Eat the Sausage.
No, it's called 20 Guesses. And basically 20 Guesses is I think of a famous person, Not too obscure that you'll never get it, but I think of a famous person, and you've got 20 guesses to get to that famous person, and basically each guess I tell you if you are hotter than colder than your previous guess.
Right. Okay.
So hopefully you might get on a kind of a bit of a streak where you're in the right areas, or you might have to ask. You might tactically ask about certain celebrities to find out if it's down that path or not.
Yeah. Exactly.
So the way it goes, 20 guesses. I'll give you a guess for free. Now, this rarely happens, or it probably never happens, but guess a celebrity, and that's your base celebrity.
Right, so I've got to guess.
Yeah, just pick a celebrity, a random celebrity.
Angelina Jolie.
Angelina Jolie. Right, okay. Now, this is where you go into your 20 guesses now. So you now pick another celebrity, and I tell you if the celebrity you're trying to get to that I'm thinking of is hotter or colder than Angelina Jolie. So is Angelina Jolie closer to my celebrity I'm thinking of, or the next one you're going to mention?
Right, okay.
So you think
she's closer?
No, you give me a name of another celebrity now.
Oh, I have to give you. All right.
Yeah, you keep giving me more. Right, he's closer. Warmer.
Right. Okay.
So Morgan Freeman is closer to my celebrity than Angelina Jolie.
Right, I see. Yeah.
So you just keep naming celebrities now, and I tell you if you're hotter or closer than Morgan Freeman.
Brad Pitt.
Colder.
Ooh. John McEnroe.
Warmer.
What?
So this is where you got to start piecing what celebrities were warmer than colder.
Sally Gunnell.
But slightly warmer.
Ooh. Gabby Yorif, whatever her name is.
Colder.
Okay. I'm sticking with females.
Okay.
Cheryl Cole.
Colder.
Sue Baker.
Warmer. Do you mean question a sport woman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Barker.
Barker, yeah. Woman. What is woman? Warmer. She's a woman. And Sue Barker. Slightly colder.
Mary Berry.
Colder. Ice cold.
Dot Cotton.
Colder.
I'm not very good at this, am I?
You were going down the right avenue about 5 or 6 guesses ago.
What was Sue Barker?
I'll get with sport.
Okay. Damon Hill.
Warmer.
What? He's male.
Gender isn't the only determining factor. Lewis Hamilton. Warmer.
Oh, Michael Schumacher.
Colder.
British maybe. I was going to say something really bad then, but I'm not.
No, don't.
I was going to say Jeffrey Epstein.
No. Pop it back out.
Prince Philip, even Christ. Prince Charles.
Prince who?
Prince Charles.
Colder.
Alan Shearer.
Warmer. You got 5 guesses left.
Right. Jamie Carragher.
Then Alan Shearer. Slightly colder.
Gary Lineker.
Warmer.
Jose Mourinho.
Colder.
Alan McCoist.
Warmer. This is your last guess.
Patrick Moore.
You're on an iceberg, mate. Colter. If you could have one more guess, what would you go for?
Olivia Newton-John.
Correct! Hey! No, it was Chris Eubank.
So I was getting warmer when I was mentioning British people.
Yeah, sports people.
Sportsmen.
Yeah.
I just didn't.
And I was trying to warm it up when you get into sports people who are a similar time, kind of 90s.
I should have said a boxer, and then you would have gone Red Hot then.
I'd have gone. You're absolutely on fire, mate. Yeah.
I'm an excellent fighter. I'm a pugilist. Chris Eubank. Cool.
Chris Eubank. So that's 20 guesses. It's one of my favourite games. That.
Right, now that I get it more, I think we should have a proper go next time. I could go.
We'll have another go.
I'll pick one, and you can do it to me.
Right, okay. Well, perhaps we can just make this a reoccurring theme of 20 guesses.
Yeah. If anyone want to join in, feel free.
Yeah, feel free. Yeah. Welcome back. Just very, very quickly, we've got a couple of minutes left. As everybody knows, we have our classic album, and Tom picked a brilliant one last month. Who responded to us and gave us a like. The Handsome Family.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Do you know what? Their album is not on Amazon Prime, so I haven't been able to listen to it. But the song that you referenced is on there, and I have listened to it several times. It's a fantastic album. So thank you to the Handsome Family for yeah.
Yeah, watch True Detective as well.
Yeah, Far From Any Road was the song. Yeah, brilliant song. So yeah, my classic album, and I know about this because they tweeted about the fact that it was how many years ago since they released the album? Was it 13 years ago since they released their debut album? And it's a band that we have both seen. They're called Blood Red Shoes.
Blood Red Shoes.
Yeah. That's going back, isn't it? I used to have it on in my car all the time.
Yeah.
Back then. And it's their debut album, Box of Secrets, which, turned 13 years old, I think it was.
No, you are joking.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I think.
So old.
Yeah, oh God, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we were just out of college, and a bit more. But yeah, we saw them at Leeds that year.
Yeah.
Only a few months after a few months after their debut album. And to anyone who's never heard of them, which they're by no means a big band at all. They released an album a year or two ago.
Yeah.
And I think the singer, or one of the singers, she's doing a solo album or doing some kind of solo project at the minute. But yeah, they're a two-piece. I mean, you heard the three pieces. They're a two-piece. So there's a woman on guitar and kind of joint lead vocals. And there's a guy on drums doing joint lead vocals. They're both brilliant vocalists, brilliant musicians. They don't half pack a punch for a two-piece, just guitars and drums. To kind of pitch where their music is, I think people call it alternative rock, grunge maybe.
Yes.
It's alternative rock really. I'm trying to picture. It's somewhere between grunge and alternative rock, I would say.
Good mix.
And it's a fantastic album. As I said, you listen to the album. I mean, they're a two-piece, aren't they? Royal Blood.
Yes, they are. Yeah. So it's bass and drums.
They're bass and drums.
Heavy fuzz on it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Blood Red Shoes are probably they're the pioneers of the two-piece, if you like. But they're guitar and drums. Male female combo as well, and if you listen to the album, they share the lead vocals individually on songs and together on songs. If you're into kind of alternative rock or grunge, it is a brilliant addition to your collection of music. Some really good. It's kind of that. It is crossed with pop music. Really catchy songs. I can't really name any songs in particular, not because I don't know any, but because they're all really good songs.
Yeah. So it's like kind of melodic even. whimsical kind of tunes, but heavier style.
Exactly, yeah. And as I said, you listen to the album, and it's unbelievable the kind of the presence they have for just two people. And obviously, I know that it's probably just not the two of them on the record, but fantastic musicians as well to kind of produce that quality of songsmanship, if you want.
Yes.
You normally have a band, 4 people contributing to that kind of music, and these two guys have done it. And it is, that's my classic album of the month, and I recommend it to anyone who's into alt rock or grunge or anything like that. And I suspect most of our listeners have not heard of them either.
No, I'm going to give them another listen, mate. I haven't listened to them in a while.
Yeah, Box of Secrets is their debut album, and then their second album, which came out 2 years after, was Fire Like This, which is equally as good. It's two really good back-to-back albums they had there. But I wanted to mention the first one because that's what got me into them. And as I said, it just celebrated its 13th birthday the other day.
Oh, brilliant. That's a great shout, mate. I'll give them another listen.
Yeah. So that's my classic album of the month.
Wunderbar.
Yeah. I think before we go, just say thank you to everyone. We've the last episode, actually, we've seen the numbers come through in terms of downloads. It's probably our second most successful podcast we've done in terms of downloads.
Yeah, exactly. So really, really thank you very much for getting involved, and on Twitter as well for your retweets and also your likes and your abuse. It's great.
Yeah, it's all welcome. Yeah.
I'm joking, we haven't had any abuse.
No, we haven't yet, have we?
Loved.
Well, I'm sure it's to come. But no, thank you to everyone who has participated in. When we see the downloads come through, it kind of gives us a kick up the bum to carry on, doesn't it? And what to carry on with it.
And if you do send us some abuse, please remember that James is a Viking. So.
Exactly. I will come and destroy you.
He will come and burn your property and take.
I will burn your village down. And and club all the women over the heads. And burn down your churches. Exactly. It's in my nature, Tom. What can I do?
Exactly, and he'll take your golden artefacts, melt them down, and make a chain with them.
And then sail off on my long boat back to the motherland. And with that note, shall we? And with that, shall we disappear for another month?
We shall. Yeah, we've got to go raiding.
Yeah. Right then. Well, on that note, we'll speak to everyone next month.
Exactly. Have a great month, everyone.
Yeah.
Be safe. Protect the NHS.
Yeah. Save lives. Yeah, and we'll speak to you next month.
Always white front to back.
We're here for advice, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly.
All the good advice, all the good stuff.
Exactly. Never let us know.
Yeah, and don't, as my old man always used to say to me, don't wipe your bum with a broken bottle.
That's just sends chills.
It does, yeah. It's a good bit of advice, though, isn't it? You don't want to do it.
It reminds me of One Man, One Jar.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. That's the second time we've referenced people in jars, isn't it? This episode.
Yeah, it's just the crunch in it.
Yeah.
Anyway, have a nice month.
Yeah, we'll leave you with that image. Bye, everyone.
We'll put that link on the website.
Yeah, I'll share the video along with the Russell Brand one. Yeah, I'm sure the Big Step will really appreciate being in collaboration with us. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For those of you fans of jam jars,
yeah.
it's a great watch.
Yeah. No jam jars were hurt in the filming of this documentary. Yeah. Just people. Yeah. Right then.
Have a good week, mate.
Yeah, you too, and I'll speak to you soon.
Speak to you soon.
Ta-ra.
Scarl.